Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Eat and Meet Career Information Session. This is the first one that we're having, and we're going to be talking about the business sector, and we have employers who are going to be here from different businesses, and they're going to be talking about their careers. They're going to be talking about employer tips. They're going to be talking about information about their industry. And I think that you're going to find it very, very informative and very helpful as you're trying to plan your own careers. I'd like to tell you who our guests are. We have to my immediate left, Bob Pflugfelder, and he's the Vice President of Finance for the Pepsi Cola Bottling Company of Central Virginia. And he has 46 years in the soft drink industry, and he has expertise in accounting and financial management. Then we have Ellen Missana, and she's the Director of Human Resources at the UVA Department of Human Resources for the Curry School of Education. And she has expertise in finance, budget analysis, and human resources, and she's also worked in both local government and higher education. And then we have Christy Williams, and Christy is the Director of Business Development for the James River Ground Management Company. And she's been in the landscape industry for 15 years and has served in many positions, including crew leader, account and branch management, and regional management of production operations. So we're really glad to have you here. And I'd like to poll the audience, and just to help our panelists know who's in the audience, can you tell me if any of you are in the business management program? Are any of you? What about business administration? Accounting? So what programs of study are you representing? Liberal arts. Good. It's a good place to be. Any other programs? Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Anyone else? Are any of you in general studies? So we have general studies. Okay, good. Well, I think you're going to find this very, very informative and very helpful to you. So Bob, can you tell me or tell us how you got started in your profession?
Well, it seems like it was yesterday, but in 1970 I joined a soft drink company after I got out of the U.S. Army. That was after Vietnam, and really learned how to do every single job that was in the accounting department. And I was going to LaSalle University in Philadelphia at night at the time, and it just seemed to be the proper way of learning and on-the-job experience at the same time. So I really searched out different curriculum, but I think business and accounting really got me started, and I found a home in that red soft drink company in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm now with the blue soft drink company.
Okay. And Ellen, same question. How did you get started?
So I started out a political science major who came out of undergraduate school during a downturn in the job economy and decided to go on for more schooling. After that, wound up in budget and finance, did that for about 15 years in the public sector, and then found my way into higher education.
So as a political science major, did you find it difficult to break into the financial industry?
I think there was lots of opportunity for good liberal arts type majors like political science, and it's really about deciding where you want to go with your career and making the contacts and getting yourself out there. So I think there's lots of opportunity for people with strong college degrees, whether it's an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree. It's really about knowing what you want and putting yourself out there.
Okay. So, Ellen, what was your journey into landscape management?
Christy.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Yes, Christy, what was your journey into landscape management?
Well, I have a fairly interesting story, I guess. Started as a small country girl from West Plains, Missouri, and kind of picked my educational career based off of my country roots and that kind of thing. So agricultural business management is what I ended up with. I wanted the business management side, so I had options if I wanted to do something outside of the agricultural industry. So started in golf course management, interned as basically the crew cutting the greens and the tee boxes and stuff like that. Just really kind of blue collar, hardworking kind of situation. And threw resumes out. I knew I wanted to get out of the Midwest, so threw resumes out on the East Coast in the golf course industry related. And James River, who is a commercial landscape contractor, ended up getting a hold of one of the resumes through through Birdwood, actually. I threw a resume in, interviewed with Birdwood. They passed my information on, and James River ended up getting a hold of me and hiring me from there. And just really started from the ground up is my story. So hired as a crew leader, driving the maintenance truck and on the mowers. Used to cut Boar's Head in. Know it like the back of my hand, actually, from a mower's perspective. Wow. But anyway, just really worked hard learning the business, growing the business through relationships. That's a really key piece is the relationship part and the hard work, of course. And it just allowed me, as the company grew, I was able to kind of move up in the ranks and help grow the business myself. So landed me in through my production journey, the different levels of management, from just the crew level all the way up to actually managing a region of our company, and then made the transition into sales and marketing. So that's what I'm currently doing now.
So, Ellen, what is a day in the life of a director of HR at the Curry School?
A day in the life changes every day, depending on where we are. Our first and foremost, we're there to service all of our employees, all of our students, and it can be everything from, oh, I didn't get paid, to working with the search committee to try and get great candidates on board at UVA, to unfortunately dealing with facilitation or mediation through conflict resolution, all kinds of different things. And that's what makes human resources so interesting, is I don't ever know what's going to come up, and I'm always able to jump from one thing to another, and there's never a dull moment.
Now, people usually think of HR and then they think about hiring and firing, but it's a lot more than that, isn't it?
It is a lot more than that. The hiring and firing are very important parts of it, but it's also about performance management and about training and helping your employees be successful while they're on the job. It's about organizational development and making sure that your organizations are structured efficiently and effectively. It really is about everything that touches employees, and in my case, faculty and students and staff employees, from the minute they put their application in to the minute they exit our organization.
So, Christy,
You got it?
got the name right. So Christy, you are in a non-traditional career for women, right?
Yes, that would be the case.
So what is that like? And what type of opportunities are there?
I would say that it's challenging at times. I think just from the production side of it, like getting in and kind of proving yourself from the manual labor piece of it. But from the management side, I think it kind of gives you a leg up because you don't see a lot of women in the roles, and I've found that just between the organizational skill sets and being able to connect, a lot of property management groups, the majority of property management is kind of a women-focused business, so there's a lot of correlations between being able to connect with the other women that are our clients. So it does actually help quite a bit. challenging, yes, at times on just kind of earning respect on the production side, but from the managerial piece with the customer base, I think there's there's kind of a leg up. The respect piece as you are a manager and a female to your male counterparts, that's you have to kind of get in there and prove yourself. And that's why I appreciate my journey, because I was able to kind of be in the trenches with them along the way, and that helps give perspective and helps them recognize that, hey, I did it too, so there's a respect level that was earned through actually getting there and doing the work.
So you're more of a trailblazer, I would
Maybe.
say.
Maybe? I guess.
Yeah.
It sounds good.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are, actually. Bob, you have been with Pepsi for 46 years, which is a really, really long time. You don't look like you could have been around that long. But I do want to know, what changes have you seen at Pepsi since you started?
Well, my first 15 years were with Coca-Cola, and then the other 32 years up to today has been with Pepsi. I want to thank Andre for doing this program. This in itself is a change. Each and every one of you may not know what you want to be when you grow up. A lot of people that work for us don't know yet, but we have opportunities not only in Piedmont, also in K-Tech, UVA, the various academic institutions. And that I want to thank you all for being here, because this is a great step in the right direction. Our business has changed dramatically in the 46 years I've been in the soft drink industry. It's changing every single day, and you can help make that change. So I applaud you and President Frank Friedman for having this. But the changes, I hope you don't mind me using a few props. When I first came to Charlottesville, Virginia, and the Pepsi operation I'm with now, we serve 18 counties in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And they were writing Pepsi sales orders on books that look like guest checks that a waitress uses in a restaurant, honest to God. We have 365 employees, about 180 of them were using these. So not only was there problems with pricing and sales tax, the whole 9 yards. We definitely had to go in to use technology. This is my third generation of handheld computers that those salesmen use each and every day. They go out as early as 2 o'clock in the morning, and we have pre-salesmen that go out, as opposed to the old-fashioned days when we would load Andre's truck up with 400 cases, and he would go out and we'd say, "Come back when you're empty, Andre." Wow. It doesn't work that way anymore. Currently, the major chain stores, our customers, are the ones that dictate. They send us orders electronically. We have also pre-salesmen on the street that go out early, take the orders, transmit them back in, even before like noon, and we start loading and building specific pallets for products to be delivered the next day. So technology, I would say, is the fastest growing, as well as products. We have over 500 SKUs in our product line. That's stock keeping units. So to try and keep that grocery store shelf full when you go there to buy our products, if we're not there, guess who else is going to take that space on the shelf? So sales, marketing, products. The other area is in transmitting those orders back. We actually have a printer, a Bluetooth printer that the delivery person takes out on the street. And the latest technology is these tablets. Okay? You all have them probably with you right now. Well, we're finally catching up into the technology. So in the area of selling, marketing, logistics, I would suggest you pursue those areas. If not now, then later on in life, because it will change tomorrow. In manufacturing, that's the area I haven't addressed yet. We produce Pepsi-Cola products right over here behind the post office on Route 29 in bottles and cans. 52% of the products that we sell are produced right here. And we are the oldest Pepsi-Cola bottler in the United States. From 1908, let's see, do the math, we're going to be, 108 years old. And we produce right here in Charlottesville, Virginia, or Mall County. So that's just a few of the changes, Andre. I'm glad you asked.
That's quite incredible. You're the oldest family-owned Pepsi-Cola company in the country.
That's correct. Owned by the Jessup family. We're in our 4th generation. And you can see the name on your library here is the Jessup Library. They're quite benevolent in the community, and they do give back because this is where we sell our products. And the charter, the initial franchise charter is on our wall. And we sell our products in a geographical area, and we just cannot pick up our business and go somewhere else. So we certainly believe in giving back in the community from where we generate our sales.
So if you're the oldest Pepsi Cola bottling company in the country, then that means you're the oldest family-owned one in the world.
I don't know about the world. I haven't done that research, but certainly there is within the continental United States.
Okay, all right. Ellen, you work at the Curry School, and a lot of people tend to think, okay, it's a university, so they have a lot of professors, they have a lot of teachers, but that's not the only type of people you hire, right?
Absolutely not. At the Curry School of Education itself, we hire support staff, we hire researchers, we hire web developers. We hire advancement and foundation employees who go out and raise money for us. We hire accountants and my HR team and finance professionals and marketing and public relations people. We have a whole scope of employee types. And then at the broader university, I mean, UVA is pretty much a small city. We do
Yes, it
everything.
is.
There are cooks and there are groundskeepers and all kinds of employment opportunities at the university.
It's one of the largest, if not the largest employer in the state.
I do believe so, yes.
Okay. So what type of education and skills are needed at James River Grounds Management?
I'll be honest, I think just a willing to work hard and show a passion towards what you're applying yourself to. We have a range of different positions from the crew member role all the way up to regional management of production, also on business development side, HR side, marketing, administration. I mean, we have all the different levels of business, and it's a range. I mean, there's people that may not even have a high school education that are looking to make a career out of something and start somewhere. There might be people with, doctorates and PhDs and different things like that. So it's definitely a range. I would say in the management perspective, it's really a lot in our industry about experience, or at least starting somewhere and learning. And so, for example, my business development switch from production, where I was basically rendering the service and doing the workload, I didn't necessarily have any sales background or marketing background, but just being able to know the product from ground up, and being able to work with people in general, it allowed me to kind of make that transition over. So as far as education, I mean, I encourage education. Obviously, we encourage people to come in with as much tools in their tool bag as possible, but it's definitely not a hindrance on whether or not you have an opportunity to be employed, because we have so many different levels of positions available. It just really takes someone wanting to learn, wanting to get on board and try it out and learn. So
really the applicants could come from all types of backgrounds.
Any background, yes. Any nationality, anything. I mean, we're very open. I mean, we are a very diverse company, and employ a range of different people. Yes.
So from high school on up.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep.
And Ellen, the same question. What type of education and skills are needed for your vast enterprise at the Curry School?
I mean, it's all over the board. And we have positions where high school diploma is where we would start, positions up to PhDs. It really it really spans the gamut of opportunities. Many of you might be familiar with Jobs at UVA, which is the University of Virginia's career site. The institution right now in the Curry School alone, I have 40 positions posted.
40?
Yes, and we are a relatively small school. The institution at one time probably has 400 or 500 positions posted. So there's plenty of opportunity there. And I'm going to leave cards here too if anybody is interested. One thing I would really encourage you as you start thinking about where you're headed with your career is to sit down with somebody and talk about what you like and what you don't like. And if you're not sure, taking those small steps, even saying, I know I don't want to do this. I know I don't want to do this. And talking with someone that's been in a particular field that you might be interested in to get some advice from them about exactly what we're doing today. Where did you start? How did you get there? And the other question to ask is, how can you help me start where I'm going? Because a lot of times these days, it really helps to know someone that's in the career that can put you in touch with a hiring official to open a door that allows you to walk through it.
Very good. Bob, you're in advanced manufacturing. Can you tell us exactly what that is? What is advanced manufacturing, and what type of backgrounds do people need to have when they're working for Pepsi?
Sure. We have a bottle line, a can line, and a syrup production line. You can get our products in any one of those different package sizes. So up at the Pepsi facility behind the post office is lines that you need to know something about logic controllers, or you could put bottles on the line. You could batch up syrup. Can't give you the magic formula though, that's a secret. But you could be involved in the lab because we seriously have quality control. So if you're interested in chemistry or biology or physics, definitely in that advanced manufacturing area, we've just collaborated with K-Tech in Piedmont, and they're offering advanced manufacturing certification. So we really appreciate that opportunity so that you folks don't necessarily have to go off and be, engineers with 4-year degrees to come work for us. You could go into the Piedmont curriculum and look at the advanced manufacturing certification. Also, there's one in there, it's not manufacturing, but commercial driver's license. All of our heavy Pepsi truck over 26,000 pounds requires a commercial driver's license. That is available in Piedmont as a result of the collaboration between employers in the community. Klockner Penoplast, Pepsi, Better Living, all those folks need you to come and work for them. I mean, they're very competitive salaries, I gotta tell you. Wage and benefit packages that we're all offering with those kinds of skill sets, and we run that production line 4 days a week, 10 hours a day. So we need you, and if you have any kind of interest in that, please come see us.
Can you give us an example of the competitive salary?
Well, we have pay schedules, as most companies do, and it runs a range, so there can be entry-level salaries. Like if you're putting bottles on the line, it doesn't require you to have, any mechanical skills. That could be, in the $15 to $18 an hour range to start, and it can really accelerate. In the advanced manufacturing, especially if you're into batching and mixing, very, very important and very secure facility that we have. I mean, you could be probably in the 45,000 now in the sales end. You didn't ask me about sales, but that's a function in our business that how hard you work and how good you are at selling our products, because it's based on base plus commission. I'm not saying you're going to get the 6 figures in the first year, but clearly if you're in the sales and delivery, and that's hard work, it's not just, take a truck out and it sells itself. No, you have to make sure that your customer's product is on location. So I don't really want to quote any more ranges, but we have salary schedules, wage that's for all different gradations, and you can work your way up. Plus, the more that you achieve, the more certifications you get, we recognize that, and clearly there's a tuition refund policy. So we participate in your education, your growth, and we don't leave you just in entry-level jobs.
Okay. Christy, are you able to tell us about your salary ranges?
Yeah, I mean, like he was saying, there's a bunch of different levels. I would say the wage determination rates for our hourly pay, which is usually your crew level employees, are anywhere right now between $10 and $15 an hour. Our crew supervisor levels are definitely kind of, we've shifted to a fluctuating work week salary. So that's a situation where you have a base salary rate, and then any overtime that you accrue over the 40 hours is paid out in an overtime halftime rate. It's what known as kind of the Chinese overtime or whatever that people have heard about. Okay. So we do have that kind of in the mix. And then the management levels, I'd say account management, and that's where you're managing a book of work of $1 million of landscape contract volume, $1 million to $1.5 million. That's going to range anywhere from, I would say, 35 to 50,000 right now. Yeah. So depending on the markets, depending on the volume of your portfolio, your skill sets, and how the profit margins, how you manage the profit margins of your portfolio affect that as well, of course. So yeah, that's kind of some range. You know, bottom entry level is probably that $10 to $12 an hour.
Okay, so you have something for everybody, it seems. Yeah. We're going to be wrapping up shortly, but I do want to let you know that Bob has brought some drinks with him, and you surely want to have a drink before you leave for class. And also, they will be staying around after we finish up here in case you want to talk to them. But I have some more questions I want to ask. So, for example, sometimes we get into that woulda, coulda, shoulda situation. What type of career advice do you wish you had been told when you were starting your career that would be helpful to you now, or maybe you would have done some things differently had you known?
One thing I've got to share with you, when I first started my career, I earned all my degrees at nighttime, similar to what you folks do. You may have full-time jobs and handling your studies at the same time. It took me 11 years to get through my bachelor's degree and my master's degree, and I learned from accounting into managerial finance and economics, insurance, all that business law, because I wanted to run a company. I was looking for entrepreneur studies, and you have it in your Piedmont catalog. I saw it. I would strongly suggest you be a sponge and suck up everything you can. Now, the professors that I had back in the day, they thought they were using the most recent textbooks, and they thought they had the most recent state-of-the-art technology, and they didn't. So I applaud Andre and Piedmont for bringing in real-world circumstances. That is a real gift to you. And I would just strongly suggest you continue to build on whatever you're hearing in 2016 and beyond, because you're going to be running this country. You really are. So if it's antiquated textbooks, or if the department chairman doesn't have the latest and the greatest information for you, you have to challenge them. So ask questions, explore. Don't be afraid to change your major. I know parents don't like to hear that because tuition goes up. But I would strongly suggest you get the skill set and the training and explore as much as possible. I have read that millennials now are changing jobs more frequently than any other generation. And I think that's a good thing, just as long as you can feed the baby.
I think I would say something along the same lines. There are so many, the technology is changing, new ideas and innovation are coming, and every day there are new lines of work and new careers opening up, and talking to people about what they do and how that relates to what your interests are and what your aims are in life, and finding out that there may be a path that you had never even thought about. So it's so important to really look at what all your options are. And with that, think about what you like. You know, don't think about what your mom wants you to do, or your husband wants you to do, or your father wants you to do. Really think about what it is that you like doing, where your talents lie, and really go and explore where you may be able to best utilize them in an organization.
That's so true.
I would add for the woulda, shoulda, could've. I would say don't shy away or deter from the classes that you might not like or you might not think that you excel in. Statistics was it for me, and just math in general.
It was my downfall.
Yeah, and I didn't like it. I didn't want to do it, and I find myself, as I've evolved through my career, fortunately with the same company, starting out just in the simplest of just workload to being involved in finance, and the things that I shied away from in school that I didn't like is an intricate part of what I do now as my career has evolved. So I just challenge you to the things that you don't like to do, you never know when you might actually need those things. And so push yourselves to just have a very well-rounded resources from in education, so that you can utilize those regardless of what direction your career takes you. So that's.
I have two more questions, and anyone can answer them. What makes for a good resume or a bad resume? And what makes for a good interview?
HR, you want to start?
Well, I think a lot of times the resume, or the CV, as we're used to saying in higher education, really depends on the position that you're applying for. And I think it's really key to make sure that the way you represent yourself is grammatically correct, error-free, and it also really highlights what you do well and what you excel at and what your experience is, and that you match it up to the qualifications that the employer is looking for. Your resume and your interview is your opportunity to sell yourself. You really need to know where your strengths are, where you have opportunities to learn, and what's important to you. Anytime that I do interviewing, in my mind, it is so important that you are interviewing your employer as much as they are interviewing you. This is a very important relationship. You spend 8+ hours a day in this job. So it is critical that you know what you're looking for, know what you're good at, you're expressing what your experience is, and that you're not selling yourself short.
I mean, spot on, by the way. I would add, be sure to not create too much fluff in a resume. I've seen resumes where it's just, this big, long spiel about all the great things that you do. I really look for how people come across in a genuine sense. I like realness, you know what I mean? So I would just add, watch for too much fluff in your resume, and as far as the interview, both. You're selling yourself, but you don't want to oversell yourself, I also think that what she said is you are equally trying to interview your employer, because at the end of the day, you want it to be a good fit. The employer wants the person they hire for the position to be a good fit, but you equally want to know that employer is a good fit for you and how you're going to fit into that organization. So as you go into an interview, be prepared to ask questions that are important to you. Push that on the employer, and that engagement is going to set you apart.
And I think it's interesting, Andre, you didn't ask about cover letters.
Please, feel free, please.
So this is an ongoing dialogue in the HR community. There are some places where cover letters are very valued and it's an important part of your application, and then there are other employers and other industries where it's not. I would urge you, if an application asks you for a cover letter, that you spend the time looking at the qualifications of the job and pulling out of your experience where you meet them and making sure that you spend time on a well-written cover letter that really is an introduction of yourself.
Absolutely, because with the cover letter, you can match those qualifications that employer is looking for, because pretty much the employer is going to have a checklist of the different attributes he or she's looking for. And so basically just create the checklist that they're going to be using anyway. They pretty much tell you exactly what they need. That's all you have to do. It makes writing a cover letter so much easier.
I just want to add a real practical side of you trying to find out your first, second, or third job is that we've gone to Arbor High School and many other high schools and tried to do at lunch very similar and say, when you go and you check out a company for a position, yes, they're going to check you out as well, but don't forget the basics. You can go ahead and vet a company and look on Indeed or Monster.com, and you can learn about that company. But likewise, they could be learning about you as well in social media. We don't do that in our company, but there are a lot of companies that will look at whatever you have put out there. Be very careful, please. We don't use that. We still would like you to come in person, and fill out an application. You could send your resume to us electronically, and we're not going to be like one of those algorithms that looks for the keywords and says, you can do it, you cannot. We don't do that. So we're old-fashioned, but we found we want you to come in and make sure you know how to read and write, and that you do know how to present yourself for an interview, because you're going to be out there representing us to the public. And in the world of Pepsi-Cola, we certainly know you're the first impression. You don't get a second chance to make a good first impression. So we want to see you. We don't necessarily want you to bring somebody in that does know how to read and write and fill out the application. So we want to see you, we want to talk, and we may ask you about 30 questions about what you're doing, where you'd like to go, etc. So we do rely on the old-fashioned application because we are investing a lot of time in recruiting and background checks and a lot of other new hire procedures that these folks do as well. And for every person that doesn't work out, that's a failure on our part because we didn't necessarily describe the position or find that match that is in our best interest. Depending upon the estimates, we invest between $10,000 and $15,000 per person that we recruit and hire. And if they leave the job after 2 days, we failed. And that is very costly for you and for us. So we want to get it right and have long-term employees participate like me, 32 years at one job. Any other questions on that topic?
No, I think that's it. This concludes our panel discussion. Please join me.
We've got a question.
Oh, pardon me, there was one more question?
Yeah, I just have one quick question on the job advertisement. If it is worthwhile to apply, if you say have only 3 out of the 4 things they're looking for, you're strong in those 3, but the 4th one, you're sure you can do it, but you can't show that to them. Is it worthwhile?
It really depends if the advertisement says it's required or it's preferred. If it's required, I mean, you can certainly, I always encourage people to throw their hat in the ring. It certainly doesn't hurt, but from my perspective as a hiring official, if I've put something out there to say it's required and you don't have it, I'm probably not going to entertain you for the position. But if it is a qualifications that's preferred, then by all means. And that would be one good thing to address in your cover letter, to say, I've done something like this, which might be a transferable skill, but I'm an eager learner and I know that I could pick this up easily. So.
Thank you. This concludes our panel discussion. Please join me in thanking our panelists, Bob Pflugfelder, Ellen Missana, Christy Williams. Remember, they are the subject matter experts. They are leaders in their companies. They're leaders in the community. They will be staying for a few minutes afterwards if you want to talk to them or if you want to connect with them at another time. Next month, we'll be talking about education and human services. Thank you again for coming.